we previously touched upon, going forth with the treatment of substance use, we have to continuously examine cultural considerations of that client. So, summarizing very briefly, that looks at examining kind of the core facets of identity that Katie previously touched on earlier. Looking at socioeconomic status, looking at class, looking at race, ethnicity, spirituality, religion, looking at all of these things, and especially examining that within a rural area, being able to better understand the person that we are serving so that we can provide utmost service to them. Going forward, as we are in COVID-19, going forward, what happens after the pandemic ends, right? So we've had nearly a year now to kind of adapt and adjust to several changes, a lot of life transitions, and those, while they affect us, they affect our clients. And when we are treating clients that are experiencing substance use, especially in a rural, extremely isolated community, how do we then adapt and transition back with them and help them in that transition process? Whether that looks like treatment becomes back in person again, whether that means, an appointment is now required face to face, looking at medication management. What are those considerations? And those, of course, look different across individuals and what we're helping them with. Social isolation increases the chance of relapse, as research has found. That, again, is a case-by-case thing that I think we'll touch upon with our vignettes later in the session. But looking at those core facets of identity, in addition to one's coping skills, one's support system, and one's connection to that external world outside of the environment in which they're spending the majority of their time in during this time. How can we help with that? How can we incorporate more coping skills? How can we, in any kind of way we can, increase that support system for that person, or be that person if we are that only person for the individual we are treating? And what does that look like in their environment with those that are around them, or a lack of those people being around them? Kind of ties right into that next point of having no access to internet or accessibility to the rural community. Going forward, considering how we can access them, how we can provide services to these people in a very general standpoint. Then we have to consider the importance of language and facial expressions, which we also previously touched upon. As Arielle had mentioned, we are working on cameras, right? Most of us have a very basic camera. We don't have the ones that can go in and out. So what do we do with just kind of this little button on a screen, or that light? Is our eye contact through a screen simply enough to engage that client and make that client feel as though they're comfortable and have that rapport to go forward with their treatment with us? So considering how we can develop and maintain that rapport in the very unique circumstances that we're in. And of course, I think it's, when we talk about the language, it's very cultural focused, right? So really having a great understanding of the core facets of that individual's identity in this, again, very unique space that we are in, as we probably get to know a client a little bit more if we are meeting face to face. So taking what we can with what we have, and then being able to engage them with language that kind of follows their values, their personality, and their cultural identity. Looking into making services accessible for disabled folks. We talked very briefly about this, and there's still a lot of research, I believe, that needs to be done on this topic. The four of us have all had some very diverse, unique experiences in treating a lot of different populations. How this looks with utilizing interpretation services, and what that looks like on a treatment team in general, no matter the treatment program you're part of and the population you're serving. Kind of how Arielle mentioned earlier in our presentation, if we have a picture, we understand that some people might not be able to see that. So we're going to read and describe what that picture is so that we know the person is receiving it, taking in those considerations, because again, we are in this very, very unique, unprecedented environment. And last but not least, considering asking if folks would like eye contact and what makes them comfortable in the space. And again, that pertains directly back to that cultural component. Just having that general understanding of the person, what makes them comfortable, so that we can, one, build that rapport, and two, then continue on with effective treatment.
And kind of adding to that, there's a few, I don't know if that's my feedback or not. But to kind of add on to that too, like I don't know if y'all have experienced this, but there are a lot of folks that'll keep cameras on, but a lot of people that'll shut their cameras off. And so being able to, I think someone in the chat had said, being able to implicitly understand what they're like, what is being said, especially without a visual, if that's something that we have relied on. So it's definitely something that is ongoing and we're learning as we go for sure.